Hello there, it's good to be back with you here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. This afternoon, the International Monetary Fund is revising yet again the board meeting date on Ghana's program to review the first tranche of the funds that we're expecting in the first week in December over fresh concerns from China on a cut-off date for debt restructuring. Now, we'll find out shortly the implications for the economy, plus here from the Speaker of Parliament, who is resisting what he says is an IMF pressure. There's more on the IMF shortly, and we're asking that question, why are the working? An answer. There's more coming your way here on the situation as we find out the solution to this disturbing issue, which has already claimed some lives. It's all coming up here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel, plus the story of how a trailer ran over some 5 sisters when a trailer ran over them on a pavement. We'll hear more about that story, plus hear from their father here on the Pulse. These and more coming away here on the Pulse. I am Blessed Suna. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities, Digni Lu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. Follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, and myjoyonline.com. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. Thanks for joining us. We're back with the details shortly. And this afternoon, the International Monetary Fund has revised yet again its board meeting date on Ghana's program review and a second tranche disbursement to the first week in December. Well, this is what Joy Business has picked up from persons with knowledge of Ghana's program with the International Monetary Fund. We'll have a conversation with business editor George Weafe shortly. Right now, though, here's what you need to know about the International Monetary Fund's timeline for Ghana's program, because there's a need for you to pay very close attention to the timeline. Let's get to it first by giving you a sense of where we started from and where we are now. And
you can see the arm of the IMF in a lot of provisions in the budget. And a critical bill like the Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill has come to Parliament under a certificate of agency. Please, it won't happen. We won't pass it under a certificate of agency. There are critical stakeholders we must consult and make sure we go together. We will not be dictated to by IMF. That one, you can be sure. Not this bill. This is a very critical bill that IMF itself should know that we need a buy-in of the stakeholders to be able to implement it. The IMF should know that Interparliamentary Union has fixed 2040 for all parliaments in the world to reach gender parity, 50-50. Not only in Parliament, but outside Parliament. And we need to deliberately focus on this, and this must be legitimized in a law. We cannot, under a certificate of agency, go through this one and get it properly positioned.
And there's more coming your way shortly. But first, I want to hear from the person who's been getting all of the information for us on this deal. George Weafe is with Joy Business, joining us via Zoom now for more on this. We'll be getting much more from him. George, if you're with us now, the question about why the date is being changed now. What more can you tell us? We'll be getting some more from George, some more information from George shortly. But of course, we'll get to the graphics in terms of what we know so far about what is happening in terms of the dates. Of course, there you have November 22 being the initial date as we know it, November 29 being the first revision date, and the first week of December is the second revision that we now have to deal with. The staff level of agreement, we know that we've passed that level. We have two key protocols to deal with now, dealing with specific agreements with the official creditors and approval of the first review by the International Monetary Fund Board. These two boxes have not been checked yet, as you see there in your shorts. A reason for which there's that big question: does Ghana have the agreement here? No. So that's the clear answer. We're getting to that for you. But it's the reason for which investors are worried, the stakeholders are worried as to what the way forward might be relating to this external debt restructuring. So what is Ghana on the lookout for? 30 to 40% haircut when it comes to commercial creditors. We're also looking at issues in terms of expected restructuring of about 20.5 billion United States dollars. Then there's the issue about the debt service relief, which should be ranging somewhere around 10.5 billion US dollars. A situation which many are wondering if indeed we'll be able to get all of these through on time. Critical timeline we're looking at now before the end of the year, because Ghana initially was targeting November to get through with all of these deals, and it's the reason for which we'll need to have some more conversations on this, and also to get some answers as we're getting it. But what is our source telling us regarding Ghana's program, and in terms of the way forward, what's likely to happen if indeed we miss all of these timelines? Is the reason for which the question is being asked now. I want to bring in George Rafi, who's joining us in studio now. George, it's a good time to be talking to you. Welcome to the polls.
Thank you so much. And how are you doing?
Right, I'm doing great. Good to be back. The question about where we are now and where our program stands. Will we make it past November?
So just a quick background, before I try and answer your question. I mean, getting into this program, yes, the fund had a deadline or a calendar where all these benchmarks had to be met. But any time that there is a problem with one, there's what you call a cascading effect on the others.
Right.
So, for instance, let's say, in June, you're supposed to have reached a deal, or maybe let's talk about maybe the fiscal data or test date. If there is a change in that test date, which sometimes might be due to the IMF asking for more answers, that typically in Ghana, even second quarter data doesn't come end of June.
Right.
It could come in August or September. So when there's a challenge with one deadline or one benchmark, there is what you call that cascading effect on all the other benchmarks that requires under the program. And that is why sometimes in situation where you have a situation where, for instance, under the program, for instance, if you go through the program, you could see that in December we should have last year concluded the domestic debt exchange program, but that didn't happen. But it meant that if government was going on to get the first level agreement, they had to fast forward and fast track some of those things and all those. So those things has a the board should have met on Ghana's program. That was just Wednesday, this November 2. Now, it looks like the IMF is trying to be more of a precautionary measure, if some would say, because you realize that in this particular case, it is not because Ghana, if I could use in the layman terms, has failed to meet a benchmark or a target under the program. Now, China is a very critical partner in this whole debt restructuring program. Initially, it appears, and I stand to be corrected, and based on what we had picked up, they were kind of okay with the initial proposal from the fund that any loan that Ghana had contracted with China ending December 2022, that should be subject to debt restructuring. Well, if you look at China on the other hand also argued that, listen, there are some fresh funds that we had dispersed to Ghana. If you look at the Palace Mall construction that is going on the overpass, that is financed partly by the Chinese government. Right. Some road projects in East Legon as well. And these were disbursed to them like 2001, 2022. So funds that we have disbursed to Ghana, and we are still in the process of disbursing more, it is not fair to restructure those debts.
So they have reservations about that.
So there was this subtle pushback that rather make March 2020 as the deadline, that any debt that was contracted between Ghana and China to that end of that period, it is up for debt restructure. So this is more of a slight concern China has between China and the fund. And the fund is saying that with respect to all these back and forth that is going on, we don't want a situation where it is time for board meeting and still these nitty-gritty things have not been addressed or finalized. So the fund initially moved it to 29th November, and now again, to be more of a precautionary measure, they moved it back to the first week in December. Now, ask yourself, what is the the fund looking for in terms of what would take or force them to approve the first review and approve this next tranche of funds? What the fund is looking for, what we'll call in technical terms, a letter of comfort, that between Ghana and this official credit committee, they have reached an agreement that we are now okay with the terms, and therefore we are going ahead to begin thorough discussions and negotiations on restructuring of our debts. What the board is looking for is not an agreement that they've agreed to restructure their debt.
Is it fair to describe this as a deadlock?
Well, these things happen, just that we have been able, and we as journalists and other partners have been able to fish these things out. All these disagreements always happen in the negotiations. Sometimes there's classification of debts and all the rest. So it is just that the fund, if you go to the website, and I stand to be corrected, maybe as of now, that information is at the website. Just that we are privileged, or we are pushing very hard on all the partners, and we've been able to get this information. So it is something that when you engage some of the members of the official credit committee, they feel that, listen, this is nothing, we can get over it. And so the negotiations are still going on, and the expectation is that before the first week in December, maybe Ghana, and together with the official credit committee, which some of the members are coming from the IMF, they can reach a deal saying that, okay, listen, let's reach halfway, you understand me, maybe push it back to this, and then voila, we go.
Initial timeline of November, now we've gone past that. The question as to what the implications might be past the November deadline or timeline.
The interesting thing is that most of these creditors, investors, banks, they have indirect connection to some of the members who are on.
Yeah.
Even directly, these other investors, these other commercial banks, the development partners, realize that this is going to delay. It might not be good for us. And look at what has happened to Zambia right now when it comes to the restructuring of their bonds as well, and what China threw in. It makes you a little bit unsettled. But again, the flip side of the coin is that when you look at most of the indicators required for Ghana to go to the board, they have met them. So on that part, give you some comfort. But the current posturing of China, would the fund maybe end up giving a waiver on that issue so that the board will go ahead and meet and approve the disbursement? Don't forget that we are looking forward to this disbursement to come in to show our Bank of Ghana's reserves. Again, if there's any indication that it is going to delay further, you don't want to think about the fears and the impact on the local currency in terms of the outlook, because don't forget the big players who move this market, the big-time investors, they are looking at more of the outlook. If there's any little sense that the outlook is not good, then you have people who might be drawing down their investments and all the rest, holding on to this capital. Don't forget that the Bank of Ghana is dealing with two things. One, those who were important, and people are still important, bringing in stuff for the festive season. Another one in the first quarter of next year, where they have to deal with those who are also important for the full year in terms of restocking. So these are two pressures that the Bank of Ghana has to deal with. They might have a quite solid reserves right now, but also under the program itself, the fund is putting pressure on the Bank of Ghana that be careful on how you intervene in the market, because we rather want you
financing.
We want you to build enough reserves for the rainy day.
I see.
So even under the program itself, the Bank of Ghana is restrained on how they can come to the market to support the currency. Rather, allow the forces of demand and supply, allow the private sector, the commercial banks to be built and supported so that they can come in to meet the shortfall. So you just don't want to waste that. But again, we had this before. The first program review, everybody thought that we were not going to get the program. The fund came in and supported. And don't forget that there's a bigger thing where they think that if you engage these whatever that they have to do to support the economy,
they will do.
They will do it.
George, I feel grateful for giving us that update. Let's hear from Professor John Gachi, Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, joining us for more of this. Trying times for the country, uncertainties all over the place. But what does this mean for governments, planning, economic planning-wise, and the move into next year? What do you see happening?
Well, I think it's very clear that government and all players within the Ghanaian economy were expecting that this $600 million will come to strengthen the successes that have been achieved for the first half of the implementation of the IMF program. So a delay will derail the performance of the currency, will actually knock down the building of reserve for the country, and that will have a reflection on the way the currency perform. So that is the fear that we are all talking about. So a delay into first half of December will mean that we almost ended the year, and that may have a dire consequence for the currency's performance.
China is the issue in the room here, elephant in the room, if I may describe it that way. There are concerns about how we can sustainably deal with the kind of level of debt restructuring that we need to do with China. How do we approach that, and how do we go past this looming hurdle, right? The fact that they are not just giving a blank check to us.
Well, I think when we are engaging in debt restructuring, we shouldn't forget that we are still dealing with two parties, a debtor and a creditor. And the debtor is the one that is actually asking for some relief, asking for some consideration. That should be the approach. And when that is not the case, what the debtor is proposing does not meet the expectation of the creditor, then there is a problem. For example, we're talking about 30 to 40% haircut. That proposal from the debtor, does it meet? The creditor does all the calculations. Does it give comfort to the creditor that is engaged in something worthwhile? So that is the issue, whether what the debtor is proposing is realistic in the eye of the creditor or not. So that will also cause some kind of delay, consultations, etc. That will cause the delay that we're talking about. So it's very clear that what we are proposing, the two parties have not yet agreed on the proposal. That's why there is a delay.
How do we make up for... yes, if you may just land on that point, yes.
And then again, let us bear in mind that when we listen to the leader of the IMF team, when they did the review, he did indicate clearly that the consideration of Ghana's situation now before the board is contingent on getting for sort of agreement with a creditor or a letter of comfort from the creditors. So it means that whatever we have achieved in terms of now does not matter so much. What matters now is getting an agreement or a letter of comfort with the creditor. If that the IMF decide that I want to waive this condition that they have set, and if that is not done, it means that this will be lingering on. It will be postponed from time to time until finally when an agreement is settled at a point in time. And then when the delay continues, it's also spark uncertainty, and that uncertainty will be seen in economic indicators.
The initial timeline of November for the fund now would have to deal with December. That gap, what do we
the case is to ensure that the position of Ghana is accepted or some kind of agreement is done. That's all that Ghana is supposed to be doing.
And of course, the 2024 budget has just been read by the finance minister. Looking at all that's happening now, how does that, affect or perhaps shift out of gear, the whole economic planning for government?
Well, I think the second tranche is needed to, as I said, to consolidate some of the gains of the program going forward. That is needed badly. We know that from now up to the first quarter of 2024, we expect some volatility in terms of the currency and perhaps in inflation. But when this money comes, we are somehow assured that it's going to cushion the economy. But if it doesn't come, then the volatility expectation will become enhanced, and that will not be the best thing for the country. So that's how it is. And again, if we are lucky that the cocoa syndicated loan that has been approved by Parliament comes on board quickly, then that will pushing the system somehow while waiting for the IMF money to be released.
Any role you are expecting from Parliament to play in these times? Because they would definitely need to collaborate with government. These are trying times.
I'm not sure IMF has any serious role to play to bring this money. All that we need to do is to press on the parties involved to understand each other's position and to find a compromise. That is what is needed. And one party cannot be clinching on one point and the other party is apart. And remember again that some parties are more powerful and more tricky in the whole process. Along the line, China has come out to indicate certain things, even a cutoff point for the consideration of the debt to be restructured, etc. So as we go along, new issues emerge and you have to address them. And that tells you how difficult external debt restructuring is. You have to consider everything bit by bit. It's not like I'll walk away. It's not like I'm giving you the date. I've reviewed it, follow through, sign it, go and consult with your board and come back and sign. It's not as easy as that. So that is why it's playing out.
Okay, we'll see about that. Grateful for your time. Professor John Kachi joining us from the University of Cape Coast Business School. Grateful for your time. And it's a good time to also talk about the budget debate which is underway in Parliament because Minister for Information Kojo Nkrumah is taking on the characterization of the 2024 budget by the minority as useless and empty. And Minority Leader Dr. Kesela Tufosun told Joint News that the budget presented last week offers no hope to the suffering Ghanaian public. But kick-starting the debate in Parliament, Kojo Nkrumah indicated that this budget will restore stability in the economy and bring down the cost of living.
Mr. Speaker, therefore, the first objective of any sound economic policy or economic program at this time should be to bring back stability. Mr. Speaker, if you look at this program, pages 1 to 164, as I mentioned, where you find the full outline of the economic program, you'll find that the objective number one is stability. To bring the cost of living down to a level that our fellow compatriots in this country can accommodate. Inflation sitting somewhere around the 50s, brought down or being brought down this year currently to about 32%. And the forecast is that in the 2024 financial year to bring inflation further down to 15%. Mr. Speaker, if anybody says that an economic program like this is useless or is empty, that cannot be true. This economic program, Mr. Speaker, is a program that is sound, that is sensible, that is pragmatic, and I believe that every single member of this House must support a program that seeks to bring down inflation from the mid-30s down to 15% by the end of the 2024 fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, look at the exchange rate. This economic program before us seeks to ensure that the stability that has returned to the exchange markets will be maintained. And that those days when you wake up in the morning and you see one rate, and by the time you are coming back home, the rate has changed, will be things of the past. An economic program in a measure like that is one that I believe every single member of this House must support because it is sensible, it is pragmatic. That is what the people of Ghana are looking for.
Well, the argument of the Information Minister there. Quick question to our parliamentary correspondent monitoring the debate which is underway for us and Kweku acting ranking member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, has been responding to the Information Minister. They're not taking this lightly, are they?
It's been really fiery, particularly with the response that has come in from the NDC minority. We've heard from Isaac Adongo. And a little background is that just last year, Isaac Adongo actually compared Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia with Manchester United former captain and defender Harry Maguire and said that they were all scoring own goals. In this debate today, Isaac Adongo says he has strong apologies to Harry Maguire because that comparison was unfounded and he believes Harry Maguire is a better defender, better player than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has been head of the economic management team. He has also been taking on some of the issues that were raised by Kojo Nkrumah in his debate on the floor. Let's listen to Isaac Adongo.
All right, then.
That has been presented is empty. You can't force magic out of Kojo Nkrumah. And so I sympathize with you. But Mr. Speaker, I can count about 23 members on the other side. And this is their budget. If they are not interested, they should tell us to stop. Why are they not here? Will you prefer Dr. John Mohammed's economy, where you were drinking your calipo for 50 pesos, to your 1 trillion where you will now be buying that calipo for 6 years? Which one will you prefer? You have inflated your revenue by over 40 billion so that you can now project an expenditure of 226 billion so you can have 40 billion cushion for reckless expenditure in an election year. That is all that you have done. But Mr. Speaker, the minister said that they have impacted Ghanaians positively. His Excellency John Dramani Mohammed's 4-year term, the total revenue he took from people of Ghana was just 65 billion. You have taken 344 billion from the people's pocket, and you say you have impacted them positively. Mr. Speaker, you have taken an additional amount of 279 billion from the poor people in Ghana. You still remember e-levy. They said e-levy was going to be the Akobank of the world. Now, where have you reached? Mr. Speaker, you remember that last year, I was very quick to compare my big brother, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to Harry Maguire. Mr. Speaker, and now apologize to Harry Maguire. Mr. Honorable Chairman, sir, you got very angry when I used your defender as an example. Today, Maguire has turned the corner, is a transformational footballer. Harry Maguire is now scoring goals for Manchester United. Mr. Speaker, Harry Maguire is now a key player for Manchester United. As for our Maguire, he is now roaming at the IMF.
with a cup in hand.
With a cup in hand. As for our Maguire, the economic Maguire, now was able to get pensioners to leave their homes and come and parade in the streets.
And quickly, we know that Abinel Sayasari, the Deputy Finance Minister, has been one of the, ardent persons on the floor offering, some sort of assurances about government's commitment not to overspend next year. Mind you, it's an election year.
That a lot of economists, a lot of financial experts have all expressed concerns that successive governments tend to overspend in an election year because they want to retain power. The assurances from Abinel Sayasari is that government is not going to do that, and that government is going to stay within the Fiscal Responsibility Act. They are not going to act in a way that would derail the progress that has been made over the last few years.
Has been on the table, and a lot of Ghanaians are talking about it, and it has to do with the taxes on sanitary pads. Mr. Speaker, government and other stakeholders met with these local manufacturers of sanitary pads, Fatex and Sanda, and through our engagement, government has also extended the zero-rated VAT, as well as removal of import duties on raw materials used for manufacturing of sanitary towels. Mr. Speaker, we know that once we have done this, it will also reflect in the prices of sanitary pads in this country. And not just that, Mr. Speaker, not just that. We also know that it will address a vital aspect of public health and gender equality. So, Mr. Speaker, we have heeded to your voice. We have heeded to the voice of the people of Ghana. And for that, we are grateful for the support. Mr. Speaker, when you come to our expenditure, in the past, like I said earlier, governments have used election year as auctioning periods, engaging in all kinds of projects to win votes. But this government is committing itself to strong fiscal consolidation and efficient management of existing commitments in order not to derail the hard-won stability that we are witnessing. Mr. Speaker, as part of this commitment, government is not initiating new commercial loan-funded projects. And so when you check Appendix 10C, where we usually have commercial loan-funded projects, that place is blank. This tells you government is really committed to living within its means.
Well, we'll wait till next year to see what happens, but it's very usual, isn't it? In Parliament, there's always a response to any comment from the majority side. The minority now saying that this assurance should be, taken with a pinch of salt.
To ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, Don Abdullah Jinapo, government's record between 2017 and now clearly shows that government is not going to live up to this word, and that the Ghanaian people should be aware of phantom projects that will just seek to get their votes in 2024. With government, we don't have funds to complete anyway. Ghanaians should be wary of that. And they, in the NDC, are not completely convinced that government will stay within its budget and not overspend in 2024. Let's listen.
Firstly, let me just deal with a factual inaccuracy. Because in this chamber, I do know that, Mr. Speaker, you encourage a lot of intellectual debate based on facts. You can have your different opinion, but you cannot have different sets of facts. Madam Deputy Speaker, Madam Deputy Minister, you said that you have a track record in election year expenditure. For the record, in 2016, go and read the updated data. The deficit was about 6%. Mr. Speaker, I refer to the IMF Ghana decision May 2023 document. I refer to page 36, table 2A. In 2020, under your regime, election year, your deficit was a whopping 17%. Wow. It has never happened, Mr. Speaker. And in that year, no country had that deficit of 17%. Wow. The head of the economic management team, we are not personalizing him at all. We are dealing with his competence. He has proven that he cannot handle this economy. That is his core duty, to manage the economy. Now he wants to turn himself into an IT man and talk about IT. No, we want you to deal with what? With the economy.
Okay, so that's how busy the day has been. But quick question to the way forward, knowing that there's also an announcement by the International Monetary Fund shifting the days now for the negotiations. Crucial funding we're expecting from the International Monetary Fund. It's not coming anytime soon. Has this reflected in the budget or the debates? And what do we seem to get in terms of the way forward?
Yes, it has been coming up. In fact, some of the NDC MPs who have been debating have been referencing Ghana's struggles to get this second tranche of money from the IMF. In fact, Joy News reported that government had missed the November deadline. Government said that was not true. The money hasn't still touched government coffers. And the experts have warned that this is really going to have an adverse impact on the Ghanaian economy if this 600 million next tranche of IMF money doesn't come in as soon as possible. And the minority are using this as a linchpin sort of to say that government is clearly not being able to abide by the terms of that IMF agreement. And that continuing like that will mean that.
Okay, quick Asante there. Point well made. We'll definitely be monitoring excerpts from that 2024 budget debate for you. You're still watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. We're keeping our eyes on Parliament, but also, next is for us to look at the Education Week, which is underway here in Accra, looking at what ways stakeholders could improve education delivery in the context of STEM and technical vocational training. We'll take you there shortly and get you the very latest. We are watching The Pulse. We'll be right back.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana in 2016 pledged to ensure free senior high school education for every Ghanaian child. Under the leadership of the President and the Sector Minister, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Elushum, the first-year enrollment has risen from 308,000 in 2016 to over 500,000 students being enrolled each year under the policy, making over 1.6 million children enrolled under the policy as of 2022. The Transformation Agenda series on education exposes you to the various achievements of government in the area of education, delving into the policies, interventions, and infrastructure development that has occurred under the leadership of the President. Be my guest this and every Tuesday as we bring you documentaries from across the 16 regions of Ghana on Joy News between 6:30 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Transformation Agenda series on education, reimagining education for national development.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small? A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more? Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Every day, people have money emergencies.
Mom, I need my school fees.
Emergency.
Mommy,
chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see SINTEX. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Calling all our daddies, students, and well-wishers. Join us for an unforgettable day as Presec marks its 85th anniversary with a grand speech and prize-giving day hosted by the Odadia 98-year group under the theme Building Upon a Legacy of Excellence, Developing Holistic Values-Driven Change Agents. Chaired by Mr. James Boateng, 2018 National Best Farmer and Odadia 78. The event starts at 10 a.m. on the 25th of November 2023 at the newly built ceremonial grounds. Speakers for the day will include Dr. Delali Fiagbe, Head of Psychiatry at UGMS, and Mr. Kwabena Asantipoku, Country Director of British International Investment, both proud of Odadia 98. Our guest of honor is Dr. Yao Osayiducho, Minister of Education, with Dr. Ofori Sapo and Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obriya Buamante gracing the event as special guests. Mark your calendars, 25th November at the Presec Ceremonial Grounds. Oh, come along and join us as we celebrate 85 years of excellence. Brought to you by the Odadia 98, Illuminator with the Bemos Lumen.
Thanks for staying with us. It's been months of asking the question, why are the traffic lights not fully functional? Well, that's the topic for today, as we're finally getting to get some answers from the authorities. Well, today we got some answers as well. The Urban Roads Department responding to the concerns at a forum on the martyrs today, which, of course, the situation is now being blamed on vandalism and theft. That's what, of course, we're getting in terms of the answers. Yes, people have been stealing the lights, as we're being told. We'll hear from the authority shortly. First, though, take a look at the report found by my colleague Samuel Mbra on this situation.
Road leads to the prime areas in Accra. On my left here, you see that this intersection leads directly into the airport. Right behind me, just where this traffic light is, the distractor traffic light is, 2 salon cars, one blue in color, another red, had a crash because there is no traffic controlling the flow here. You have this police officer directing from both sides. So at the time the police officer asked them to stop, the one behind quickly, lost control and hit the car in front. And these are the cars I'm talking about, the cars in short. The blue car that has opened the bonnet or the boot was the car that was hit by the car in red there. So that is how chaotic the situation is. That's just an example or one of the instances of the chaos that we are witnessing. at the traffic intersection here in Accra that are not working. We have visited not less than 5 traffic intersections, and I must say the situation is actually a sight to see, because commuters are finding it very difficult. I saw school children struggling across the road because, one, the pedestrian traffic light is either not working or the entire traffic light is not working. We don't have traffic wardens or police controlling the traffic. It was only the Avenue stretch that I saw an MTTD officer directing traffic there, and as well as the airport intersection. So on the whole, the places that we have visited so far is actually a chaotic scene to witness. We remember that at Ablekuma.
Well, my colleague Samuel Mbura there at a forum on malfunctioning traffic lights organized by the National Road Safety Authority, the Department of Urban Roads, which is responsible for fixing and maintaining the traffic lights, explained why most of Accra's traffic systems are not functioning.
The data that we have for this year, we have recorded vehicular crashes of 83 from January to now. 83 vehicular crashes. Then another trend that is disturbing a lot is vandalism and theft. I should say most of the traffic lights that are not functioning in the central business district is as a result of vandalism and theft. It's overwhelming the department, but we have engaged the national security, the police. Even though we had formal engagement with them, we are now building a closer bond for them to help us out, because it is going beyond the budget that the government releases for the maintenance of traffic lights. Another trend that we are seeing is excavation. You know, some of the utility companies, when they are giving permits, because of sometimes lack of supervision, they'll be digging along and they'll just cut the cables and they will not reinstate them. So that's also a trend that is also worrying to us. So this is what happens. There's a particular pole at 37 square about. As soon as we erect it, it will be hit. And sometimes we even get advice that we should put a new jersey barrier, a concrete in front of it. But road safety will not allow us. Because if you put it there, the person may lose his life. Then what have we gained? As soon as you put it there, it will be hit. This is Koyo Thompson Road, Farah. This happened at Soul Clinic. Somebody hit the gantry. We couldn't trace who did that. So we have to bring our crane to do the correction. This is the almighty Barnyard. So that's one of the critical intersections that we have because of the arterials that are connecting. You put it up and they go and steal the batteries. They take away the cables. That junction in 2 years, we did it about 3 times. And they go and do that. If you drive on that stretch, almost all the signals are off. Not as a result of the department negligence, but stolen equipment. They steal the batteries, they steal the cables, they steal everything there. Opebia has been off for about 3 months. The controller is empty. He stole it. He broke into the burglar proof, stole everything inside. And I sometimes wonder, you can't steal these things and bring it back to us. We have the data, we have the serial numbers of all these things.
That's the sad reality. Traffic lights being stolen. Let me bring in Reverend Cyril Crab, of course, with the Accident Victims Foundation. Reverend, this is part of the problem.
Yes, I was just coming from the conference or seminar that they held. For us, it was also an eye-opener. In fact, it was a revelation. You know, always the National Road Safety Authority have been at the edge of the sword, that everybody wants to choke them. But today, with the help of the urban rules, giving us clarity over what has been happening over the years, I think that over there, I said that I think we have to apologize to the National Road Safety and then also appreciate them for at least receiving all the shots and the bullets, from us, because you can see that it's a real trouble. It's a nationalistic thing.
That we need to deal with.
Unpatriotic people, committing such crime that is at our detriment. I don't think that it's good enough.
And in fact, it's just been 5 years, as we know it, since the trailer, for instance, ran over a 5-year rule. I think 5 schoolgirls at St. Chichiri in the central region, killing them instantly. The girls aged between 11 and 14 were all biological daughters of a 49-year-old carpenter. He says justice has eluded him because he's poor. He's opened up at a remembrance event here in Accra for victims of road accidents. Well, for those of you who missed it, here's Benedict Dobia's Sari's report read to
you. Girls, Eva, Vivian, Abigail, Emanuela and Lydia were sent on an errand by their school teacher during break time. As they waited on the pavement to cross the road to fetch their teacher's items, a trailer ran over them, crashing and killing them instantly.
Our children went to school and the only news we got was that a trailer had crashed them to death.
It's been 5 years since the incident, but father of the deceased girls, Yawa Sari, says he's still traumatized by the incident, especially because no one appears to be interested in helping him get justice.
After that, you two Yeko education director was DC education director.
After their burial, all efforts to seek justice have proven futile. I've lost hope. Both the car owner and the driver are nowhere to be found. The car was moved from where the incident happened after about a week, with no traces of the perpetrators.
3 days after 4 days. 1 week, number 5 can feel.
He joined a group of people who have been victims of road accidents at an event to vent his pain about not receiving justice. The event, organized by Accident Victims Support Ghana and NGO, sought to raise 10 million Ghana cedis to support other road crash victims.
I couldn't do anything. I was just bedridden. I couldn't move around, but with the support of the wheelchair, it gave me relief. My dad is relieved. He's not supposed to, he doesn't carry me around anymore. I go about, I can come out with the wheelchair, I move around freely. I thank Accident Victims Support for the support they've given me. I'm very grateful. And I want to appeal to everyone to help support the Accident Victims Support Team Foundation, that they should support in any way they can.
Founder of Accident Victim Support Ghana, Reverend Cyril Crab, asks for support to help ease the pain of survivors and their families.
We all have to come to the table, find solutions, and part of the solution is to address it financially. You've heard the stories yourself. You can see how the victims are in a dire need of financial support. And so we want people to personalize it, personalize the crash, personalize the plight of the victims.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that debating your accessories.
Could use some new riding gloves. Guess I'll go with black leather again. Just seems so basic. Wait, what if I did white leather? People be like, hey, this guy's different. Or they might be like, hey, this guy looks like a butler. Yeah, okay. Black leather it is.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's personalized the problem that we are facing in the country, the crashes that it can happen to you. So if you have the opportunity, what will you do? You have to support. People will repair their cars, but how about repairing the human beings? How about making sure that somebody who never paid to be in such a position now finds him or herself there? The driver could be free, but what about the victim?
Fortunately, Reverend Cyril Crap is still in studio with us, and these are the realities we're talking about in terms of victims of, road crashes. But you keep supporting them, and we see that the father now is looking for justice.
Yes, actually, this year, the World Remembrance Day of the UN was subjected, or the topic for the celebration was justice. And I've been looking for justice, not only for them, but the Oti region, the 6 children that died in Oti region. There is another woman. I've selected about 15 stories from 5 selected regions. And they are all looking for justice. Dinah, who spoke, was knocked down by an Okada, and she fell into a gutter, came back, and she was paralyzed from waist down. She doesn't even know where to get help from. They come as, like you said, we support them. But how do we get the justice in the sense that the driver, has been penalized or punished? The car owner, has also been at least been corrected. But we see victims who fall prey to this thing, accident that is happening. The drivers sometimes, the next day, they have been released. I was bringing Maggie, who lost the only child. She has since not seen the driver up to today. The courts, they keep on going. She has never seen, until she was given 30,000 for the only child. She was given 25,000 Ghana cedi for the correction, 25,000 Ghana cedi. And Maggie, as we talk right now, almost want to kill herself, because that's the only child. She's been looking for a child for a long time. The child came, 9 years. The child was crushed just like that. So you see, these people are asking for justice. They are not the ones I brought alone, but across the country, the 15,000 injured victims and the 3,000 or 2,800 that died, the families keep on calling our office, keep on calling myself, seeking for justice. Justice, they don't have compensation. Justice, the insurance. In fact, under the program, Mr. Wilson Ter said that police reports and then hospital reports are a part of the requirement of treating the victim. But here's the case where you become a victim, you go to the hospital, you are treated, you demand for a report. They said you are going to use it for insurance, and so you should also pay. And sometimes they have to pay about, exorbitant price, and it becomes a burden, and that delays them for getting, the insurance. Right. There was a woman who came there for 10 years. The car, ran over her. She's alive by the grace of God. But for 10 years, she said that when she went to SIC said that the insurance is status.
But I believe these are, technical steps in terms of the insurance policy.
That's the kind of justice they are asking for.
Okay, but then let's then deal with, the structural challenges and the policy reforms that you're on the lookout for. What sort of policies could cushion fathers such as this and also other accident victims?
Yeah, I think the compensation fund is there. But assessing the compensation fund is another issue. And that is the solution for the problems that we are facing now. If the compensation fund are not going to be that stringent, on these victims, that you come after 3 years and they cannot help you, at least we'll go a long way solving the problems. Because the plight of the victim, one of them is that they take time in the hospital. After the hospital, they take time to recover. And after taking time, they have to look for money to now look to where they have to go. Sometimes the lawyers also play a part. They have to agree on the money that they are going to take. So the solution is there, but to assess it and make it flexible. And at the moment, I think that major solution that we need to address is bringing this topic to the table. We have a lot of victims who have been denied compensation, who have been denied insurance, who have been denied a whole lot of things. What do we do as a country to help them? We have done our part, and that's what we continue doing. But if government can partner and then help these people go through at least even a surgery, or give crash victims free medical care, give crash victims some kind of freedom when they have the accident, because nobody carries anything on him or her, or everything get missing. At the end of the day, they don't have anything, but they'll be treated, and then there will be some kind of flexibility in police report and medical report. It will go a long way to solve this problem. And also, insurance will also at least understand the plight and be a bit humanitarian towards them. and then we can have a solution towards this. Government should also set something aside, apart from the compensation fund. I think government should address it humanitarianly. These are citizens of this country. Right. They never called to be in such situations, and they are coming in the number. So the moment it comes in the number, we should be alarmed and find solutions or, ways and means to curb it.
Any message for, the general public? We're heading into the Yuletide, very festive season, lots of movement. What should we be on the lookout for?
Yeah, in fact, with what we heard from the urban rules in the National Road Safety meeting today, I think that we should advise the general public that they should open their eyes, because electricity, traffic lights, and the electricity, energy people, we pay for them. These are our own. It's not for one particular person. So everybody should be on the watch out. Going into the Christmas, motorists should always be cautious that at least, if for nothing at all, whatever you see on the road that will endanger your life, you speak about it. Above all, let's remember that there are accident victims out there, that we should visit the hospitals and then give them a helping hand, give them a support, give them some kind of relief. And I believe that going forward, we are all going to live. We deserve to come home alive. We deserve to come home alive.
We need to be safe.
And we are all vulnerable as well. And so we are also calling for support, like I said, Corporate Ghana and then beverages, people. We can't visit crash victims empty-handed. So tea rolls, drinks, bottled water, rice, whatever it is that you can give to us, you can call on us. We'll continue to visit them and give to them.
We'll be safe. Reverend Cyril Crab, thank you for talking to us, and that's why we're urging you to drive safe this season. Well, time now to talk education, because the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, says it is taking steps to enhance the quality delivery of education that will be laced with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in a bid to get the buy-in of stakeholders and to take stock of government's education policy over the years. The Ministry of Education is holding a National Education Week, bringing together stakeholders, students, teachers, and all other industry players to deliberate on the way forward in improving Ghana's education sector. I was there earlier. Here's more. The National Education Week 2023 is underway at the Labadi Beach Hotel. This is an event organized by the Ministry of Education, and the focus is simple. We're looking at education delivery for national transformation, but with a sharp focus on TVET, science, technology, and of course mathematics, which is STEM, that of course the education sector has been very much focused on. Deliberations will go on until the end of the week, focused on matters that relates to ensuring transformation within the education space. Is the reason for which here within the whole of the national, here within the Labadi Beach Hotel, we have a number of stakeholders drawn from the second cycle, the primary schools, the basic education sector, and also the tertiary sector, all focused and targeted at trying as much as possible to get the buy-in of all stakeholders for national transformation. That's why this celebration, if you may want to call it that way, the National Education Week is underway, just trying as much as possible to seek the views and inputs of stakeholders on the education sector. So it's a good time to interact with some of the people who are here. Let's speak to the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. Professor Edward Apia is with us, and we're fortunate to be having him talk to us about this National Education Week 2023. And Prof, thank you for joining us on the Joy News channel.
You're welcome.
And just a couple of minutes ago, you did your presentation as well, focusing on the second cycle institution and also other reforms that will be taking place. But first of all, what's your impression of the decision by the ministry to organize this National Education Week?
Thank you, Brett. And I think that this is key, and it's good to have it. At every stage in your life, you need to evaluate what you have been doing, invite people to tell you their views, so that at least you can check to see whether you are making progress or there are areas that you need some improvement. And for me, this yearly activity is key, and I commend the minister for doing that. You can't just be doing anything thinking that you are on the right course. But if you have people coming to evaluate and giving you feedback, commending you where possible, it's well and good.
I see. Your presentation was focused on the second cycle institutions. Looking at the years back and the kind of reforms that you're introducing, do you feel that you're on the right track or there's more work ahead?
Thank you very much. NACA, our mandate is to develop curriculum, among others, to develop curriculum and assessment standards for the pre-tertiary. And so today, I had to, looking at the theme, I had to look at improving learning outcomes, how NACA has fared in this transformation activity. And I needed to let the world know, or Ghanaians know, what have been done in the reformation as far as developing our curriculums is concerned. So I took the nation through the KG and then the primary and the JHS curriculum that we have started. You know, we started the standard base where for about 5 years now. We've run the standard base at the KG and then the primary schools. And then we moved on to the common core, which is also another of the standard base for the JHS. And we are ready to cap this reform or this curriculum reform with the senior high school one. And so in the past 1.5 years, NACA had developed the secondary education or the senior high school curriculum. So I needed to let Ghanaians know where we have come from, the preparation that we are doing to roll out, and then to let them know the various aspects of the curriculum for the secondary education that will help transform education and to also improve our learning outcomes. And that is what we sought to do this morning.
So if you are looking at key, curriculum reforms that may be taking place in the next few days, what are some of the highlights that you can share with us about, what to expect, where the change will start from? And just to point out once again, we're looking at STEM and TVET. That's been the focus. Is that where you're going to start the curriculum reformation from?
Okay, let me say that the standard-based curriculum that we've rolled out for the KG, primary and JHS, and for which we are going to end with the secondary, is STEM infected, STEM focus from KG upwards. But beyond that, we have also developed specific program courses, subjects for the STEM schools. So apart from the fact that the whole curriculum is infused with STEM, we have also have a STEM alone curriculum for the STEM schools. Indeed, there are 7 schools, STEM schools, 4 new, and then 3 already schools that have been transformed to the STEM schools. And we think that that is the way to go. Indeed, and in my presentation, before we finalize the curriculum, we had to give it to an international consortium to review and to check and benchmark it with the international standards. And I'm happy to say that in one of their comments, they said that Ghana, this curriculum is one of the most ambitious one. And of course, Ghana is the second country that have developed this. And we think that if we have developed this, it's not just the development. What are the things that we need to do to make sure that we roll it and make it success? We have, in the last 1.5 years, apart from just developing, I've also engaged stakeholders. We are training teachers and other stakeholders involved. We are preparing ourselves, getting the materials that needs to be used during the time. In the next few weeks, we are going to do a trial rollout in 31 schools. And we are going to trial all the subjects and to make sure that at least come next year, 2024-2025, we have prepared ourselves, prepared teachers, prepared schools to roll out for the successful implementation of it.
And Prof, that's why I'm grateful that, of course, the ministry is at least holding this forum to try and engage stakeholders, because stakeholders, without them, you cannot proceed. CHAS is one of them. CHAS has raised a number of concerns. In the last few days, you've heard from them the issues happening in school, funding issues and all of that. In fact, we understand the minister will be having some special engagements with them on the side. But listening to the concerns of CHAS, Are we certain that this is the right time to go ahead with all the reforms and all of that, knowing so well that there are some teething challenges ranging from funding and all of that Charles is raising concerns with? Are you aware of the concerns? What do you feel? We hold on, deal with their concerns before proceeding.
Okay, let me say that I'm not privy to what Charles have raised. But prior to the start of the development, we engage stakeholders, including Charles. We engage Association of Ghanaian Industries. We engage NAGRAT. We engage NAT. We engage religious leaders, vice chancellors. And even in the course of development, we've been engaged National House of Chiefs and the learners. So far, we think that the feedback is good. And for us, the secondary education curriculum, we are doing everything possible. The kind of thing that they normally talk about is the tools and the materials ready for rollout. And I can assure you that all that is needed to start the implementation of this is already being tackled. The materials, when it comes to equipment for the STEM schools, as I speak with you, I can confidently say that most of the materials are already in, because we are going to use them to do the piloting with the schools. The textbooks that we are talking about for the senior high schools, I can assure you that we've developed the manuals that are going to be used. Beyond that, we along the line we had an interaction with NAT and NAGRAT, and they were saying that we should encourage the subject associations to write. Yes, we have agreed to that. And as I speak with you, on the desk of NAT where they have subject associations, we have already engaged them, and we are going to even have a stakeholders engagement with them and to brief them with the curriculum and encourage them to also come and see if they can also develop the materials for which the schools can be used. So I said, by and large, we are ready to move on. As and when we find some teething problems, we will correct it and then we will move on.
I see. Two key policy issues that Ghanaians are concerned about. First of all, the free senior high school policy and the review you've done around it, and also trying to improve on quality, because quality has been the concern of Ghanaians. How is that feeding into this whole curriculum reform that you're carrying out?
Okay, let's. The free senior high school policy, it's there on its own. But let me state emphatic that we need to achieve the 60-40. Now, this education 4.0 require skills, technological skills needed to run. And if we don't gallop our activities, run our activities, and make sure that we have that science and humanities 60-40, we can't catch up. And that is why it's important that everything that needs to be done, we need to do it and make sure that we get the pool of resources that are needed to do the transformation, the technological transformation that we need. One of the things that people say, and sometimes I get a little bit disturbed, is that the free senior high school is producing graduates unemployment. But let me be honest with you, Bless, it is better to have a large pool of unemployed technocrats, large pool of unemployed graduates, learned, than having a large pool of unemployment citizens. Because you see, if you have graduates, learned, people who have been trained mentally, academically, it is easy to transform them to employable circles. And so, if nothing at all, let us continue to create that employable skills. If nothing at all, other industries outside can find talents and they can come and set up and probably make use of our talents. It is far better to have a population that is unemployed and at the same time illiterate. And so I will always say that it is important to have literate unemployed graduates than having illiterate yet unemployable citizens.
Prof, we need to go, but as we wrap up, you touch on the issue of assessment and how it's going to be now, because we've heard rumors, people claiming that there would no more be WAEC or BEC for candidates. As you touch on that, then you wrap up with a message to parents who are out there. Many of them are not able to come here physically, so they can only connect through the power of the internet and by television. What will be your message to them? And as you deal with this rumors that there won't be BEC, there won't be WASI anymore?
Thank you. I believe you heard the Director General for GES even mentioning that. Let me make it clear that BEC will continue. What it means is that the content and the approach is going to be different, because definitely there need to be an exit activity, and so BEC will continue to do. What NACA have done is, in doing the senior high school curriculum, we looked at the 6 years, from JHS 1 to SHS 3, and did a smooth transitional calendar as far as curriculum is concerned. And because what it means that they will now be using the new curriculum, which they have not prepared themselves for. But those in the JHS 3 that are going to transition, the BEC that they are going to do, and the way we structure the curriculum is such that education and learning will be easy for such students. Bless.
So they won't write BEC anymore?
They will write a BEC because it's an exam, but they won't write the nature of the BEC as was being done. It will be different, and it will be easy for them because it is the same standard base that they are running onto the senior high school. Trust you, in the next 4-5 years, you will see children that are poised, creative, and not just true learners, but children that we can confidently say that even getting to the tertiary school, they are more equipped and going to accelerate their learning. Trust you me.
And I'm grateful. We're sure that throughout the course of the week, we'll be doing more interactions to see how the event is going. But thank you so much, Prof, for spending some time with us, and we're grateful. But of course, we're still here at the Labadi Beach Hotel. We'll be monitoring developments at the National Education Week 2023, and the engagements will continue. The theme is centered simply on education delivery for national transformation, with a special focus on STEM education and TVET. And that's why we're bringing you this special package from the Labadi Beach Hotel. Blessed Sugan reporting for Joy News, Accra. And this is your election headquarters. We take you up north as the overlord of Dagbawumia, Abukari Bahama II has now admonished the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to recognize John Dramani Mahama as a brother and not an enemy. As the political campaigns heat up, he stressed that both of them are his sons, and whoever wins the election brings the trophy home, hence should not be a divided one. Samuel Mbura is up north and now reports.
Diana Abubakari Mahama II said, "This is a big opportunity for Northerners to demonstrate maturity, competence and honesty to move the country forward," and therefore urged Dr. Bawumia to run a clean campaign and not allow anyone to push him to engage in politics of name-calling and insults. He made these comments during a courtesy call on him by the MPP flag bearer during his homecoming tour of the northern regions.
Your team worked tirelessly for you because of what they have seen in you. So don't disappoint them. Lead them and don't let them lead you, or else you have wasted all their efforts and sleepless nights. So strengthen your team with charisma and good nature. Let people come into contact with your good nature in their actions. Only this way can you truly lead and get the work done. So once again, please move heaven and earth and run a clean campaign that Ghanaians will remember long after you have left the country. I I wish you all the continue abundant blessings in all your endeavors, especially your political activities. I also wish you Allah's traveling blessings as you crisscross the country to express your gratitude to all and sundry.
In response to the counsel by the Dagbon overlord, Dr. Bawumia indicated with firm assurance that he has come to the political space with ideas and will contest John Mahama in that direction, but would not depart from his humble nature to engage in politics of vilification. We are fortunate to have you as a father and grateful for this advice. I will not allow partisan politics to divide us because of our different interests. I will assure you that the 2024 election campaign will not be about attacks and insults. It will be about competence and who can lead this country better. We are all your children and will not fight ourselves. In appreciation for the courtesy call made on him by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Yana gifted him and his entourage a ram and tubers of yam as custom demands and wished him well in his endeavors. The homecoming tour continues to Bimbila and later ends in the Savannah region. Samuel Mbura, Joy News, Yendi, Northern Region.
His Excellency the Vice President.
And from the north, it's time now to check out what's been happening elsewhere in Europe, because many immigrants go to Germany, for instance, hoping to build a new life there. But Germans and their bureaucracy doesn't make it easy for people to do so. And German authorities have come under criticism for the hurdles immigrants actually face in the country. The topic is in the headline as Germany faces an increasing number of refugees and migrants, and as the parliament prepares to consider a new citizenship law. DW correspondent Emily Schultes is in Berlin and has more for this very policy for us. Well, Emily, let's talk about the hurdles. What kind of hurdles are we looking at here? Do immigrants face in terms of the vast issues that many of them have been talking about? Just help us understand what immigrants actually go through in Germany.
German bureaucracy is a bit notorious on this front. There are questions about how long it takes to get an appointment to even get your foot in the door to start applying for a visa or a residence permit. It's confusing requirements. It's the fact that oftentimes people are being given a visa for 6 months or 1 year and then having to sort of continually renew them. And so essentially, if you are someone coming to Germany, particularly if you're just learning German, it's often very difficult and very stressful to navigate those kinds of requirements and makes it difficult for people to find a way to settle here.
Wondering what factors, for instance, contribute to this long delays in terms of visa and residency processes for newcomers?
Well, some of it is that the authorities that deal with this, so here in Berlin, for example, the Foreigners Office, are pretty severely understaffed. And so you've got people who really are working around the clock, taking on caseloads that are a lot bigger than they can and should be handling. And so when you've got offices that don't have enough staff, they can't take people in for appointments, things like that. There's also the fact that Germany struggles sometimes with digitalizing its public offices and authorities. And so, there's also the fact that you are printing things out, things are being mailed rather than dealt with digitally. And so a lot of that helps slow the process down as well. And then you add to that the fact that right now, when we're looking at the refugee situation, people coming into the country, there is just a very high demand for these services right now.
Wondering where we are now in terms of where things actually stand, in terms of Germany's proposed citizenship law. It's generating a lot of conversation. What would you want us to know about this law?
Sure. So this is when the current government came into office just under 2 years ago. They said that they wanted to modernize the citizenship policies here. So instead of 8 years living in the country before you'd be eligible, that number would be brought down to 5. And in some cases, if you speak fluent German or other things, it could even be as low as 3 years. And one of the other things that it would do would be to allow for dual citizenship. So you could keep your previous citizenship in addition to being German. And that law was approved by the cabinet earlier this year, but as of right now, it's still waiting for a debate in the Bundestag, the German parliament, and there's no set information as to when that might move forward. So as of right now, the law is still on hold, but it's something that is controversial, but a big priority of some of the parties in this government.
We'll leave it here. Emily Schultes with our partners at the DW in Berlin. You're watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. We're taking a break here. We'll be back with more stories.
Introducing the Kensington Heights at Airport City Kumasi, the largest modern smart city in West Africa. The Kensington Heights is your bridge to the skies, where you can access direct flights to international destinations, including the USA, UK, and Europe. Imagine a world where convenience, comfort, and investment opportunities converge seamlessly. The Kensington Heights offers an incredible opportunity for families, investors, and businesses worldwide. Enjoy spacious and beautifully designed luxury suites, executive suites, one-bedroom apartments, and 2- and 3-bedroom penthouses, complete with world-class amenities and easy access to the new Kumasi International Airport. All units are on sale now, starting at $69,950. Be a part of the future of Kumasi and reserve your property today. For more information, visit our websites www.thekensingtonheights.com or www.airportcitycom.
The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23rd to Sunday, November 26th, 2023. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. We are bringing everything housing under one roof, just for you. See you there. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own. And sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home. Saint Gobain Weber, Gyproc, Proroc, Placo, Isover, making the world a better home.
Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, Kumasi, by HDG Homes Limited.
On the 25th day of November, Africa will be moved by music. It's the 11th Guinness Ghana DJ Awards, powered by Smirnoff. Who wins what? Who wears what? The back-to-back jams by the hottest DJs and your favorite music stars. Celebrate the biggest night of music as we recognize our iconic DJs. Don't miss performances by DJ Sky, Stoneboy, DJ Nice, Master Q, Gal Dem DJ, Samini, Lil Wayne, DJ Sly, The Mask DJ, and all the way from Netherlands, DJ Polyester. Dial *713*33*33# to get your tickets to this unforgettable night of great music. The Guinness Ghana DJ Awards is powered by Smirnoff and sponsored by Game Park Ghana, Virtual Sound Lab, DSTV Aquaba Magic, PC Entertainment, Hooked On Entertainment, with media partners Joy 99.7 FM, Hits FM, Joy Prime TV, WhatsApp TV, GhanaMusic.com, The Radio Advertising People, and Showbiz TV.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana in 2016 pledged to ensure free senior high school education for every Ghanaian child. Under the leadership of the President and the Sector Minister, Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Elushum, the first-year enrollment has risen from 308,000 in 2016 to over 500,000 students being enrolled each year under the policy, making over 1.6 million children enrolled under the policy as of 2022. The Transformation Agenda series on education exposes you to the varied and various achievements of government in the area of education, delving into the policies, interventions, and infrastructure development that has occurred under the leadership of the President. Be my guest this and every Tuesday as we bring you documentaries from across the 16 regions of Ghana on Joy News between 6:30 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. Transformation Agenda series on education, reimagining education for national development.
And thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. Advocates for neonatal care are asking government to include their healthcare in the National Health Insurance Scheme. According to the advocates, a child's first benefit from the state is the ability to leave when they are born before the 40 weeks gestation period. And assistance, which, when denied, they claim will lead to their death. Currently documented as one of the leading causes of death among newborns, the advocates want government to increase funding for neonatal care as a means of ending preventable deaths for newborns and children under 5 years of age in its quest to achieve the SDG target by 2023. Hannah Odami has been looking at that and now reports.
Mothers of preterm babies often have to stay in hospitals for as long as their babies receive care. This affects their finances and general well-being. Some are thrown into a state of despair, confusion, and guilt. Olivia Sakwa has been at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital for the past 3 weeks, waiting for her third child, born at 32 weeks, to be discharged. The financial burden, she says, is draining, reason why governmental support is needed.
If you, the mother, you've been so you have to sit till the break so you can take care of your baby as well. And aside that, buying drugs, going for labs, it also stresses us. So actually, if the government can provide beds for mothers being taken care of premature babies.
Aside that, some mothers continue to live in denial about the situation of their babies. But Gloria Abaka, who delivered at 33 weeks, encourages her fellow mothers to give their best love to the children
hospital. I
realize that when we love our children when they are in this situation, they come out faster than we thought.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that thinking about helmets with faces on them.
I should get a new helmet. Ooh, maybe I'll get one of those ones that looks like a face with painted teeth and eyebrows, you know? Oh, that always looks so cool. People are like, whoa, is that a person with two faces? Oh, no, it's a helmet. And one face.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
An NGO, African Foundation for Premature Babies and Neonatal Care, occasionally support these mothers through diverse means to alleviate their plight. Selina Bingtum has been leading this cause.
The cost of care in the NICU is expensive. The NHIS covers very little portion, probably less than 10%. And for the amount that it covers, it does not extend to essential part of care, like medication that is expensive, that the baby needs to survive. And so it is not an excuse for a Ghanaian, a baby who is born Ghanaian at that age to die. Even if it's just one baby dying every year because of this, it is still not fair, and we can do more.
Stanbic Investment Management Services, which assured of continuous support for the mothers, also promised to be a voice so government can respond urgently by increasing investment in neonatal care. Desmond Bredu is head of client coverage.
For us, we believe in sustainability. So we are not just looking at just a one-time thing, but how can we partner other institutions? How can we echo the message? Because that's where we can get to have more people come on board.
From the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, I am Hannah Odame for Joy News.
Well, we stay on health because 40% of children living with HIV/AIDS are unaware of their status in West and Central Africa, while mother-to-child transmission remains high, reaching 64% in these two regions. The revelation came to light at the opening of a 3-day regional HIV and AIDS summit here in Accra by the Executive Director of the Civil Society Institute for Health in West and Central Africa.
Representatives from government and civil society organizations across 20 African countries, along with donor organizations such as World Health Organization and the USAID, have convened at the 3-day regional summit addressing the end of AIDS in children in West and Central Africa. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines, the director of the Civil Society Institute for Health in West and Central Africa, Ngwesila Tepin, emphasized the summit's crucial role in crafting viable solutions to empower CSOs in the sector.
Unfortunately, we only have 60% of children living with HIV that actually know their status. We also see that, unfortunately, we have a rate of around 65% new HIV infections that were acquired that were transmitted to children because their mothers did not receive the adequate ARV treatment that is in existence. So what we are really trying to put the focus on is that community organizations, civil society organizations need to be empowered. They need to be given the means to do testing, to do outreach, and also to contribute in terms of care and support.
Underlining the necessity for stronger collaboration between state and non-state actors, Program Manager for the National AIDS Control Program, Dr. Stephen A.C. Addo, highlighted key interventions by the Ghana Health Service in combating HIV in Ghana.
Based on all the analysis, we've realized that if we have to end the epidemic, the public sector alone, the private sector alone cannot. We need to work closely with the civil society organizations. And already we have started that discussion. Next year, the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, TB, and Malaria has provided resources to strengthen further this partnership and collaboration with non-state actors. The Ghana Health Service is going to work very closely with civil society organizations to implement community initiatives in the cascade of care from testing, treatment, retention, and viral suppression.
On his part, President of the Ghana HIV/AIDS Network, Ernest Otsen, underscored that funding remains a significant challenge for CSOs in Ghana. He stressed the importance of allocating resources to combat the disease, considering the country's high HIV prevalence.
If you look at our statistics, we have about 354,000 persons living with HIV in this country. About 8% of them are children. So that's quite high a number. And that is why we need the support of government in addressing pediatric HIV. This is something that we can achieve. So all we need is for government to provide domestic resources to address this issue of pediatric HIV.
Otsen also expressed commitment of CSOs in Ghana to work toward.
Well, that's all we have for you in this package of the Pulse. I'm Blessed Sugan. Log on to myjoyonline.com. We have stories there for you.